amazing, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make some faux agate sliced coasters. So if you guys have ever seen agate sliced coasters, and you guys may know that they can cost a lot, but we're going to be making these out of some polymer clay, so it makes them a lot cheaper. We also get to make some beautiful different colors with them, which you don't get with like the real agate slices. And I've added glitter to these, which I think makes them look really cool. Let's go ahead though and get started. So let's start by getting out our supplies. The first thing we'll need is an oven, baking sheet or a piece of tile, wax paper, self-stick furniture bumpers, a straight edge tool, Sculpey gloss glaze, white polymer clay, and I'm only going to be using Sculpey 3 oven baked clay in this video. Then we're going to get some yellow polymer clay, white and gold glitter, the color of polymer clay that you like, and a glitter to match the polymer clay color that you chose. We're also going to use some optional items such as an old coaster or something else round about the same size you'd like for your coaster, some paper, a pen or pencil, and a rolling pin. So let me know, you guys, what you think of the background. So I actually realized that when I had some new countertops put in, that there was a big extra piece of countertop for my kitchen, and I was like, you know what, this would make a perfect background. So let me know what you guys think of this background. So I'm gonna start by getting a piece of paper and an old coaster. Again, you can use something round about the same size. And then I'm gonna trace the coaster onto my paper with a pen or pencil right in the middle of the page. Next, we're gonna need some wax paper. If you made the circle on the page, just place that wax paper right on top. Next, I'm gonna get a pinch of white polymer clay, and I'm gonna make a random shape, and it's gonna be about 1/4 of an inch thick. Now, you can place the white polymer clay onto the wax paper, but I'm placing it onto my tile so I don't get a bunch of glitter on my wax paper. Trying not to get glitter everywhere is impossible. I've actually grown to accept the fact that my house is just constantly covered in glitter. I've come to accept it. Next, I'm gonna grab some white glitter and pour it onto my white clay and press it in. And I'm going to take the white piece of clay and place it onto my wax paper if you guys already didn't have it on wax paper. Next, I'm gonna get the color I want. For this one, I'm gonna choose blue for it. So I've got a light blue that I want even lighter. So I'm going to blend it with some white to make the palest of my blue colors. So now I'm going to roll out this color into a snake. I don't know what you would technically call this, but I'm just going to refer to it as a snake because it's long and it's thin and looks like snakes. So yeah, I could have called it a rope, I could have called it a noodle. I feel like there's some kind of technical term for this in the clay community. I don't know what it is. In elementary school, we always called it like a snake, and then we would be told to roll it into a little snake. But it didn't really sound weird to me until I started doing this, and I'm like, I feel like that's not the right word. So I'm gonna roll this out into a piece, and all of my rolled out pieces are gonna be about 1/4 of an inch thick, about the same height as the white piece. Then I'm gonna take my snake and press it around my white piece. We're just gonna press it all the way around, just gently bumping it up against that white centerpiece. And if it's too long, just cut it down a little bit to fit. So for my next piece, I want it to be a little bit of a darker blue. So I'm just gonna use that remaining piece that we just cut off and add a little bit more blue to it, add a little bit more white until I get a piece that's a slightly darker shade of blue than the piece that we just did. And then I'm just gonna roll it out into a snake and place it on the outer edge just like we did with the last piece. The next piece I'm gonna roll out, but this time I'm going to roll the clay and I'm going to roll this one and coat it in glitter. I'm just gonna roll it all over the glitter. And just like before, I will add this piece onto my layers of clay. So I'm just gonna press it up against those other layers. The next layer is going to be the blue without any white. So I'm just gonna roll that out and add on that layer. Now I'll add a lighter blue piece, and then I'm gonna add on a white piece. So now I've got a darker blue polymer clay. So I'm going to do the same thing that we did with the lighter blue. I'm just going to make the dark blue lighter by adding some white, and then I'm going to add that to the layers. And now I'm going to do my next layer with that dark blue again, but I'm just going to add a little bit more dark blue to it to make it a little bit darker. And this one, I'm going to roll it out and add on some glitter. Now we're going to do a darker blue layer, again using that darkest blue, but just making it a little bit darker than the last layers. And I'll finish with all of my blues by doing my darkest shade of blue, which is that dark blue without any white. And at this point, you should have the entire thing about the size you want for your coaster. And then we're just going to add one more layer on, and for this one we're going to use some yellow polymer clay, and then we're going to add some gold glitter to it, and we're going to place it right there on the outer edge. So at this point, I like to kind of clean up my coaster. So some of the glitter sometimes gets on other layers. So I use like a toothpick and just kind of pick it off. And then just like gently pull up a little tiny speck of glitter, and I put it on a paper towel. And the reason I put it on the paper towel is because otherwise that little speck of glitter you just pulled off, whether you're putting it over here or there, it will end up back on you if you don't like rub it onto a paper towel. Now I'm going to get a sheet of wax paper and place it on top. Then I'm going to use my finger to push and flatten the clay into a solid piece of clay. So it's all just kind of blended together. So if you chose to use a roller for this part, like I did, just make sure you don't like roll it down really flat because we don't want these super thin and brittle. But I just kind of roll over it to get rid of any thick bumps. Now we can peel the entire piece off of the wax paper, and you can place this on a tile or a baking sheet. So your gold edge may have gotten a little too flat, especially if you've used a roller. So I'm going to use a straight edge tool to gently press it up and match it to the height of the rest of the coaster. And then what I like to do is give that gold layer a little bit of texture around the edges. So I'm just gonna slightly cut into that gold layer just to make it kind of stand out and look like a real agate. Then you can use a toothpick to poke holes into the center white piece, but don't poke completely through the clay. Now that we've finished, we can place the polymer clay into the oven. You can use this tile or you can place it onto a baking sheet, and I like to cook this for about 275 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes to an hour. Once it has come out of the oven and it has cooled down, use a dry paintbrush to remove any excess glitter. Then I get my Sculpey gloss glaze and add a layer of gloss to the top and the edge of the coaster. And I allow that to dry for 30 minutes, and then I add on a second coat, and this time I let it dry for a full 24 hours. Then I just pull the coaster off of the tile, or if you're using a baking sheet, just pull it off of there, and then I'm gonna flip it over, and I use 5 self-stick furniture bumpers. I place 1 in the center and 4 on the outer edges of the coaster. So I ended up making 4 of these blue ones. You can see that I also made the green, a purple, and my personal favorite, which is pink. I did try these out also to see how well they would hold up. So after I let them dry and everything for the 24 hours before actually using them, I did try these with a cold cup, so cold that it was like condensation on it to see how well it would hold up. I also tried it with a super hot cup of apple cider that was in the microwave, and I put it on there again. I let it sit and it came out fine. It was just like it never had a cup on it, whether it was a wet cold cup or a hot one. They worked perfectly, so 100% should work if you follow these instructions and should be completely fine. I did not use Mod Podge for these because Mod Podge probably wouldn't work if they got wet. Or at least it wouldn't hold up as well, but I love this Sculpey gloss. I love it so much, and these all look really cool. Again, I don't know how to end these videos, so I'm just gonna say bye.